Hey guys, Reflex is here, welcome in my next video for game Taptap Heroes. Today I will show you top 3 heroes from each faction. So I do this list only for 10-star heroes because of new players, so let's begin. So Ultima deals damage to all backline enemies, so 120% of attack. All backline enemies allies gain extra 30 speed and 20% attack for 2 rounds. So if you have maxed out your cleric speed, it grants you plus 100 more extra speed. So at this speed is Ultima the fastest unit from the game, so this is a really useful skill. His passive skill and basic attacks deal 82% of attack to 3 random enemies, and when below 50% HP, increase all allies attack by 30% and reduce all enemies defense by 9 for 3 rounds. Triggers only 1 per battle. Okay. Number 2 is Sizo. So inflict 240% attack damage on enemy with lowest HP. Inflict additional to 10% max HP damage to targets with a HP lower than 50% up to 200% attack damage. Remove burst, bleed or poison status, control resistance plus 50% for 2 rounds. Target's healing effect minus 100% for 1 turn. It's ridiculous. So it will not miss. This is really important. So this assassin is really strong. Passive skill. Any attack reduces the target's healing effect by 30% for 2 rounds. Effect is not stackable, okay. Inflict 25% bleed damage on target for 2 rounds. Inflict 15% poison damage on target for 2 rounds. Crit plus 20% for 4 rounds, okay. Another passive, a normal attack will inflict 100% attack damage on 3 random enemies heroes. A normal attack will cast a normal attack speed on the target, which causes 100% attack damage when triggered, and crit damage plus 40%. Okay. And when HP is below 50%, attack plus 35 damage percent for 5 rounds, and cast a normal attack spell on all enemies, which causes 150% attack damage when triggered, only once per battle, and remove all control effects immediately. Okay. And number 1 is our favorite Valkyrie. Okay, deals damage 100% and 40 of attack to all enemies and extra damage 15% to them for 5 rounds. Reduce all enemies attack by 20% for 3 rounds. This is ridiculous. 20%. Okay, cannot be dodged. This is really important. Okay, some passive skill and damage attacks deal extra 50% of attack, and drain skill damage 20% of attack from the targets. Okay. Another passive skill, each hero when dies, heal the ally with the least amount of HP, 300% of attack, self speed increased by 10 and skill damage increased by 14%. So this is why Valkyrie does so much damage. So remember that. Okay, so this was for Alliance. So Horde, Medusa, 140% of attack to all enemies, bleed damage 15% and poison 15% for 3 rounds. Okay, basic attack to 3 random enemies of 76 of attack. Okay, this is passive skill, so increase attack 50%. Okay, and passive damage to petrify units increased by 60.5%. There's a 24.5% chance to petrify enemy for 2 rounds. Okay, so Medusa is very good with Freya, because when Freya someone petrified and Freya is faster than Medusa, so Medusa will fire after her and damage is increased by 60.5%. That's really strong combo. Okay, number 2 is Turkulmak, our new hero. So 140% of attack to enemies, 25% chance to silence targets for 2 rounds, reduce target skill damage resistant by 25%, can be reduced to negative numbers for 2 rounds, cannot be stacked. Okay. Passive skill increase self HP by 30%, skill damage by 80%, and skill damage resistant by 25%. Okay. Passive number 2. When allies release skill, increase self attack by 25% for 2 rounds. When enemy release skill, heal self 120% of attack for 1 turn. Okay. Passive skill number 3 is in the front line, increase all allies skill damage resistance by 25%, self skill damage by 60%, cannot be stacked. When in backline, increase all allies skill damage by 40%, self skill resistant by 25%. So this is why Turkulmak is so strong. You can use this like in defense and like in offense. Okay, and another strongest hero, so number 1 is Phoenix. Okay, let's begin. Deals damage 100% of attack to all enemies. Burn damage 50% of attack each round for 3 rounds. Has a 77% chance to reduce enemies defense by 10 for 3 rounds, and 100 energies to 1 random ally increase attack by 13% for 3 rounds. This is why Phoenix is so strong, because it gives this energy. And normal attack inflict 100% attack damage on enemy hero with the highest attack HP plus 35%, and normal attack inflict 50% burn damage to target for 3 rounds. Target attack minus 15% for 3 rounds. Cannot be stacked. Okay, this is passive. When alive, all allies heroes inflict plus 30% damage on burst targets. That is why so strong again. And the last one, when AP is lower than 0, recovers 77% of max HP for 1 turn, only triggers once. Remove any control by and restores 77% attack HP to all allies heroes for 5 rounds, only triggered once. Okay, so now we are moving on elves. So number 3 is Luna. Deals damage 155% of attack to all enemies, 50% chance to silence them for 2 rounds increase. Damage reduced about 70% for 2 rounds. I remember times when Luna can tank, but for now she's not a good tank. Okay. Increase crit rate by 30, crit damage by 30%, and attack by 32. When enemy heroes dies, increase these heroes crit damage by 20.5% and attack by 15.5%. Okay, and basic attack deal damage 85.5, of attack to 3 random enemies. That's it. Number 2 is Lorelei. Okay. 140% attack to all enemies, remove all abnormal status, reduce all enemy speed by 20 for 3 rounds, increase all allies burst resistant, bleed resistant, poison resistance by 45% for 2 rounds, cannot be stacked. Reduce all enemy skill damage by 30 for 2 rounds, cannot be stacked. Okay. Passive skill, increase HP by 35%, attack by 35% and energy by 50. That is why because Lorelei don't need Tears of the Goddess or Star Shards, and she can fire her skill in first round. Okay. Increase skill damage by 60%, deals 100% of attack to 2 random enemies, and reduce target speed for 20 for 2 rounds. Okay. And the last passive skill is when HP below 50%, remove any control and heals 0 to 100% attack HP for 3 rounds. Increase gnaa energy by 50, damage reduced by 35% for 3 rounds, only trigger once. And number 1 is Brawl. Deals damage 182% of attack to 4 random enemies, heals the whole team 75% of attack for 6 rounds, 80% chance to stun enemy clerics for 2 rounds, and deals bleed damage 50% of attacks to them for 2 rounds. This is a really strong 80% chance, it's like almost always. Okay. So attack plus 30%, HP plus 25%, crit rate plus 35%. Okay. Passive skill, basic attacks deal self 75% of attack for 3 rounds, and attack increased by 30% for 3 rounds. Okay. And the last one is if self HP is less than 50%, has a 100% chance to silence all enemies for 1 turn. Okay, this is like crazy, 100%, so always there are silence for 1 turn. Self crit damage increased by 60% for 6 rounds. Okay, this is why it's draw number 1 in clerics. Moving on, undead. So number 3, Deadlove. Deals damage 270% of attack to the enemy with the highest attack, with 24% bleed damage for 3 rounds, and heals itself for 120% of attack. Skill cannot miss. This is also important. HP plus 35%, attack also immune to bleed. Passive skill, basic attacks deal damage to the enemy with the lowest HP, makes the target bleed for 2 rounds, which causes extra damage 36% of attack per round, and reduce the therapeutic effect for 50% to the target for 2 rounds. After killing an enemy, energy plus 100. It means killing some enemy heroes so we can fire next round again. Another passive skill, this hero deals extra 60% damage to bleeding foes. When below 70% HP, deals 20% bleed damage to all enemy heroes for 5 rounds, only triggers 1. When below 50% HP, remove all control effect immediately. Okay. Number 2, Shimmer. Deals damage 100% of attack to all enemies, heals the whole team 100% of attack for 4 rounds, good healing. 20% of attack damage increased, and also HP by 25%. Basic attacks deal damage 70% of attack to 4 random enemies and 50% chance to silence target enemy for 2 rounds. So again, Shudmel is cleric, so 100 speed from guild tech and plus this speed, so she's one of the most fastest units in the game. Okay, and the last skill is when taking any damage, a 60% chance to increase the zero energy by 40 points. This is also very good. But the new hero, ggnoaa, the second newest hero, is stronger and comes at position 1. So deals damage 80% of attack to all enemies, deal poison damage 36% of attack to targets for 5 rounds. Deal bleed damage 36% of attack and to targets for 5 rounds. Has a 25% chance to silence targets for 2 rounds. Reduce self-crit damage by 60% for 2 rounds. Cannot be stacked. Passive skill: increase self HP by 35%, silence target by 20%. Damage to poison targets by 20% and also bleed 20%. Increase self attack by 30%. Basic attacks will attack 2 random enemies for 100% of attack when doing damage. Basic attack. Ready stagger gets silence, burn, bleed, poison resistant by 25% for 2 rounds. Really good. The last one, when battle begins, resist 1 control effect that will be receive 1 when self HP below 50%. Really nice. Remove all controls and silence all enemies for 1 turn, only trigger once. This is why ggnoaa is rank 1 in Undead. Okay, moving to Heaven. My favorite hero, Lindbergh. Deals damage 230% of attack to random backline, 2 random backline enemies with 100% chance to stun them for 2 rounds. I remember this skill was the strongest in the game because Lindbergh was after Ultima the fastest in the game, so this was very strong. Deals extra damage 70% of attack to wanderers, okay, and inflict additional damage 100% and 80% of attack upon target with less than 50%. Okay, speed plus 40, attack plus 25% and immune to stun. Yes, he's a stunner, but he can be stunned. Okay. Another passive, basic attack 140% of attack with the least HP. Each time enemy dies, energy plus 100%. So really good passive. And Lindbergh is very good, but he needs very badly hit rate. So remember that. And passive, each 1% HP loss, crit rate plus 1% and crit damage plus 2%. Really good. But Mars is stronger, so rank 2 deals damage 100% and 70% of attack to 4 random enemies, 60% chance stun to them for 2 rounds. So this is really good. So this is why Mars is better than Lindbergh's. It's only 60%, but to 4 enemies, not 2. Once its own HP is less than 20%, cause extra damage 200% of attack to targets, cannot be dodged. So really nice. True damage plus 60%, attack damage plus 30%, speed plus 40. Another Increase 30.5 cell skill damage every basic attack. Increase 20% true damage when releasing skill. So in the course of battle, Mars is even stronger and stronger. When HP drops below 0, restore 15% max HP, increase energy to max, and damage reduction plus 81% for round. Okay, this is so strong. But the strongest is Scald. Deals damage 120% of attack to all enemies and increase true damage to the whole team by 30% for 3 rounds. Heals the whole team 240% of attack, really high. Has 77% chance to remove all count control upon the team, really nice. Increase crit rate of the team by 10% for 3 rounds. Passive HP plus 35, also attack damage and self healing plus 50%. Basic attacks deal 3 random allies. Heals has 77% chance to remove herself from negative efforts, so silence, burning, bleeding and poison. This is so good. When scouting the team, ally will revive with 77% max HP after death, so like Phoenix, except for idling and only trigger once. Meanwhile, heal the whole team 100% of attack for 1 turn. Triggered only once. Okay, Scald is so good. Okay, and the last one is Hell. So before that someone will be judging me, so this is only for battle when each of this hero is strong by itself, so that means that this list is creating by not affected within another heroes. For example, Bale is number 3 because he needs Scout really badly. This is why he's rank 3. So inflict 120% of attack damage on all enemies with 30% bleed, damage for 3 rounds, cannot be dodged, increase crit by 20% for 3 rounds. 77% chance of increasing skill damage by 20% for 5 rounds. Okay, passive skill HP plus 30%, skill damage plus 60, healing receive plus 50%. Normal attack will inflict 75% of attack damage on 3 random enemies. Normal attack will reduce target's healing effect by 20%. Effect is not stackable and will last for 2 rounds and have 77% chance of removing all negative states from the caster. Okay, that's it. And final passive, when enemy heroes HP reach 0, energy plus 100%. So this is really nice. Speed plus 50%. Oh, sorry, that will be too much. Plus 50. After killing an enemy, inflict up to 5% max HP. Damage on the all enemies up to 200% of attack damage for 1 round, except for idling. Okay. Number 2 is Jessia because he needs really badly Scout 2. Deals damage 140% of attack to all enemies and inflict bleed upon them, causing ongoing damage 50% of attack to them for 4 rounds. Double bleed damage to Wanderers. Inflict skill damage by 15% for 4 rounds. Okay. Skill damage plus 62.5%, attack plus 30%, silence resist plus 50%, reduce the odds of being silent. Okay. Increase 20.5 energy when any heroes unleash skill, but basic attack and taking damage no longer gain energy. Basic attack increase attack by 15% for 3 rounds. So this is only one hero, then don't gain energy when taking normal attack. Oh, sorry, dealing normal attack. Okay, and passive skill. The last is when you release skill and increase your own 250% skill damage for 15 rounds. Ridiculous. Okay. And the strongest hero for hell is Freya, because she does not need scout or some other heroes. Deals damage 75% of attack to an enemy, 30% chance to petrify them for 2 rounds, 30% chance to drain 10 energy. This is quite good, because 30% is not so low. Okay, basic attacks have 55.5% chance to petrify the enemy for 1 round. This is also good. Increase skill damage by 100%, HP by 40% and speed by 60. Okay. And final skill is each time this hero petrifies one enemy, on attack increase by 50.5% for 4 rounds. This is why the damage of Freya is the highest of the battle, each battle, to be specific. So guys, this is for this video all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.